Emraan, your last film, Once Upon a Time in Mumbai, has been declared a box office hit. Yeah. It is in fact your biggest hit outside of the Bhatt family banner Vishesh Films, isn't it?
It is.
Now, if one were to look at your career, one would draw the conclusion that you've avoided multi-starrer films for the most part. Yeah. Or at least films with stars who are more senior than you. Your co-star was going to be Ajay Devgan. Were you not concerned that also his character was, in a sense, the author-backed character? Yeah. Were you never concerned that he's going to walk away with the sympathy and possibly the film as well?
Well, I was not afraid of him walking away with the sympathy. I was just a bit skeptical. Yes, he's been around for 20 years. I'm fairly a newcomer.
Right.
I have to match up somewhere. So I had to be on my toes and match up to that level of performance. But I was completely, I trusted Milan completely.
Sure.
He's like family. And I knew when he had told me that he's going to, project this character in this certain way. On the flip side, of course, there's, obviously the character was extremely dark, mean, ruthless. And I like that. I think it was very interesting. He kind of sticks, after the film gets over.
Especially since this was the first film you were starring in with a senior actor. Was there no sense of fear that, I'm sure you've heard stories. There are senior actors who tend to cut other actors' roles. They tend to influence the director to make sure they are the ones who come out looking best. Were these fears? I'm sure when you got to know Ajay.
Of course these fears were there. These are very valid fears. And I would be lying if I said that I was extremely secure and I felt that everything is going to go smoothly in this film. And, but when I met everyone, you're assuming these things in the beginning. When you sign the film and you don't know the person you're working with.
Right.
I knew Milan. But when I met Ajay, I just knew that this guy is damn chilled out, to work with. And he's non-interfering. And everyone got their due in the film.
शेर से हल चलाओगे तो किसान तो मरेगा ही.
हिम्मत बताई नहीं, दिखाई जाती है. काम हो तो जाएगा.
अब सुपारी लिए तो चूरा नहीं लगाऊंगा. इस शहर को चलाने के लिए सिर्फ 2 लोग चाहिए, सुल्तान और मैं. बाकी पांडु सब बनवास जाएंगे. जिंदगी हो तो स्मगलर जैसी. सारी दुनिया राख की तरह नीचे और खुद धुएं की तरह ऊपर.
Now, your next film is a film called Crook, which is inspired by the racial attacks on Indians in Australia. I wanted to ask you, when you do these films with the Bhatt camp, they tend to be about issues, whether it was Jannat, which was about match fixing and betting, whether it was Tum Mile, which was about the Mumbai floods of 26 July, and now Crook. They start out being films about an issue, but they tend to just very superficially touch upon the issue, and they tend to become, commercial films.
Well, this again is addressing that issue. The thing is, if you go and explore the details of that issue, I think it somewhere compromises on the commercial aspect of the film. We want to make a film about racism. It's not about racism per se. It's about this guy. It's about this crook. He's a fraud. He's a liar. He deals in pirated films in Mumbai. He does piracy, and from there he has to leave because of some circumstances. He has to go to Australia. And how there he sees a handful of Indians being treated in this way by a couple of Australians. He can't stand up for them in the beginning because he himself is an illegal immigrant. So if he gets mixed up with the law, he's deported back to Mumbai. His dilemma where he can't take up for his countrymen. And eventually how this crook, a man who believes that it's good to be bad, that you have to be slightly street smart to get your way through. He has to make a choice between good and bad.
Right.
So it's about that. It touches the topic of racism also. But essentially, we're not trying to make this a serious, preachy film.
Sure.
It touches it on a surface level. We're not trying to start out a debate, or we're not trying to kind of go into the depths of racism in this film. No.
अच्छाई बुराई, सही गलत, एक ही सिक्के के 2 पहलू ही तो हैं.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भारतीयों पर हमलों का सिलसिला रुकने का नाम ही नहीं ले रहा है.
न जाने कौन सा पहलू तुम्हारी किस्मत बन जाए. किसको पता. मेरा तो बस एक ही फंडा है. साइड उसकी लो जिसमें जीत अपनी हो. भाड़ में जाए दुनिया, मुझे क्या. मुझे इंडियंस और ऑस्ट्रेलियंस के झगड़े में नहीं पड़ना है, सोनी.
I was going to ask you, why do you tend to do only commercial films? And I realize that I have to rephrase that question because you're doing a Madhur Bhandarkar film now, although Madhur's trying to make
It's a commercial film.
Apparently. But you're doing a Dibakar Banerjee film, which is actually quite
That's a commercial film too.
That's also a commercial film. So then let me come back to that question. Does it not interest you to do slightly offbeat films? You know, there's been a spate of good films recently, smaller films, offbeat films. Do those interest you?
Of course it does. I don't see films as offbeat and mainstream cinema. I see a film, of course the commercial viability of a film, that's my instinct. I feel that probably I want to, see, you don't know what the audience wants.
Right.
If you're excited about it, you do the film. That's the only way I segregate films is as a good film or a bad film. If I don't take to the script, if I feel for some reason I don't fit into it, probably I won't do a film like that. But yeah, any subject that probably interests me, by the industry standards, if it's an offbeat film, so be it. I will do it. But I'm doing the subjects that have come to me, that people have come to me with. You know, you can do the offers. You can only take up the offers that have come to you.
And finally, I'm going to remind you of what you said the last time we met. You said you're going to not do too many kissing scenes anymore because you were tired of that image. I see that you have.
I'm still tired.
Gone back on your word, both in Once Upon a Time in Mumbai and from what we've seen in the promos of Crook.
I didn't kiss in Once Upon a Time in Mumbai.
There was a seduction scene. I suppose it's not the typical.
Well, the mustache got in the way. So. In Crook, it's coming back to the Emraan Hashmi from Jannat. Again, not exactly the dark shades from Once Upon a Time, but yeah, he's mischievous, he's naughty, he's a rebel, and there's stuff like that in this film also. You got to talk to my directors. I always have an argument with them before every film and say that, you know, not again, and then.
Do you feel like you get judged personally because of this image?
It does bleed into your personal life. People start assuming things about you, that probably this is how you are.
Right.
And it's intimidating for actresses.
Right.
When they probably sign on. Someone new in this industry, extremely intimidating to work with Emraan Hashmi after all the films that, everything that I've done in films. But, I mean, I guess...
Do you get to hear other actresses who say no about working with you?
I haven't. You see, casting is done by the producer, so even if someone's saying no, they obviously don't come and tell me.
Okay.
So I'm sure there are a lot of people who must have said no, but it's never reached my ears.
Okay. Just as long as you don't get to hear about it. Thank you so much for talking to us. Looking forward to seeing Crook.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you.